But like, you can't say like skinny people will eat McDonald's and know it's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A fat person can't be eating McDonald's and say they're healthy. That's not fair.
You ever bring like a fat dog to the vet? Yeah. the vet straight up goes, hey, we need to like lower the food.
You gotta go on my walks.
Yeah.
Like, your dog's gonna die in a couple
you don't
years
go like,
if we don't.
don't listen to the doctor.
One of our most just obsessive fans, Ryanimay,
Hey man, I'm a fan.
submitted this video for us to react to. I've never seen
But Nick submitted it to me.
I sent it to Ryan.
And then I submitted it to you because I'm a fan of you.
There's a lot of submissions here.
I don't know how to put you guys in one group.
Submissions.
I have no idea.
I wish I knew some submissions, dude.
Let's just watch this together.
I wanted you guys to react to it because I know Aram's gonna love it.
Okay.
And then Bart will also like it.
Okay. Wait.
Of health. Yeah, that's really complicated, right? I think I want to talk about that question, but I want to start by saying that, you know, no one has to be healthy. No, right? Like, I mean, it's like, no, like, there is no governing body that's, like, out there putting, you know what I mean? It's like, no one owes anybody that in either the traditional sense of the word or any other more innovative or, you know, more politicized, maybe even version of that word. So I think it's important to say, like, and I want to back up and bring in intersectionality and say, like, right, like, look at the disabled community, right? Like, I think people with disabilities have, and activists within that space have consistently been saying, like, I'm never going to be your notion of healthy. That doesn't mean I don't get to be a full human. You get to treat me some kind of way, right? And so I think that I love taking that principle within disability rights to fat activism and to understandings of fatness. So I want to start there, right? Like, no matter what size you are, you don't owe anybody else your health. But I mean, for me, right, like, in an ideal world where, like, in an ideal world, there wouldn't be health-based gatekeeping at all. What is your definition?
I don't understand what.
Okay, so it says no one has to be healthy by Virgie Tovar, weight czar for SF Health Department.
Well, if she's talking about how like people like it's like people should be respected or whatever, like I mean, if it's an emotional argument versus like when she says no one owes anyone to be healthy or whatever, I'm like, what is she talking about? Like,
what does that even mean?
Yeah.
What is she angling towards? Like, what's the end goal with that?
Did you guys get like what she was trying to?
Joe, she doesn't owe you anything.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
I think in her mind, it's like, oh, my definition of healthy could be whatever I kind of want. Like, that's what it kind of seems like. And it's like there's no standardization across the board between body types. And I'm like, that's kind of...
Or maybe the idea that any concept of health shouldn't be enforced in any like space.
To me, it's this. You believe whatever you want, that's on you. But the minute your irresponsibility encroaches on me, then that's a problem. So, for example, if you want to keep proceeding towards a way where you're become diabetic, pay for your own medication and all that, but then when you have to tap into other people's taxes, and then and you have to like kind of like suck resources because of your irresponsibility, then to me, then there's a problem. That's how I see it. But if you're like, you know what, I am my own version of health, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. If that's what you want, that what makes you happy, that's freaking awesome.
Good for you.
But don't come bug me.
Yeah, because if you're over 18, you're allowed to freaking smoke. If you're over 21, you're allowed to drink. You're allowed to gamble. If you want to ruin your fucking life and do things excessively, that's what an adult like makes that choice. And then if you face the consequences of those choices of excessive use of anything. So what is she? I still don't understand what she's talking about.
I think she's thinking people are forcing a healthy lifestyle onto her, but I think people that are pushing health are doing it because they want to push the information. What you do with the information is up to you, but people that have discovered that, oh, this is healthy for you, this is good, extra walking and breathing and, cutting down from fats and salts, that's good for you. Not saying you have to live this way, but take the information so that if you do choose to live your life that way, the information is out there. But no one's pushing health on her.
Do you think that if she's like a government official in the SF Health Department?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Wait, she's a government official?
Well, she's the weight czar for SF Health.
What the hell is a weight czar?
I don't know what that is.
What's her name?
Virgie Tovar. Virgie is VIRGIE and Tovar TOVA.
Yeah, I'm with Bart when it comes to. Okay, so like, it's perception, right? Because her mentality was like, hey, I want to bring the vision of like what people see as obesity and all that stuff is the same as like people with disabilities. But I actually don't think it's the same for me, because one is a lifestyle choice where it's like I see it as food addiction. So I don't see it as like, no one's born obese. You become food addicted over the years, and then that's your lifestyle. And then so it's not promoting a healthy lifestyle because you're overeating. Some people might say, well, I have a thyroid issue or whatever. But if you medically do, then you are in the disabled category because you have health issues. So that's completely different. Or you might have a mental health issue, and then, you know, you're morbidly obese and you're like 400 pounds overweight, you just addicted, you can't stop, right? So I think it's like different. It's like no one, okay, so if you like smoking cigarettes and then you have to get a lung replacement, right? Like, should the public pay for that lung transplant? You're the one that decided to smoke cigarettes. No one was born like smoking cigarettes. Like, you know, I don't know. So I don't think it's a disability in the same way.
I might be ignorant to this, but like when you give that example of like somebody else's like a disability or health issues or something like that, and then it might encroach on like your tax dollars. Like, where does government or tax money?
So I'm assuming a specific, because I could be wrong, but I'm assuming a context that she's trying to paint, and since she is a government official, based off, I guess,
She's not a government official, but she was hired as a consultant in 2024 for 6 months by the SF Department of Public Health.
So based off, I guess, what her like job title is, and then based off of how it seems like she needs to be fit into certain categories, then to me, I'm like, oh, okay, she's talking about this topic from a public health perspective. That's how that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, it's such a snippet that like I'm just trying to paint the rest of the picture. So I'm like, okay, from a public health perspective, the things that we talk about are things that from like anywhere from ADA, you know, like making sure curbs are wheelchair accessible, to people that actually need help. Where do we allocate tax dollars to all of that? There are things that I feel like, yeah, we should for sure help people that need the help. But when she's talking about her health, and I think what is probably making this video a little bit more controversial, she does look heavy set, which are lifestyle choices. To me, it seems like I can keep making my lifestyle choices don't fit me into this category. Then to me, I'm like, that's perfectly fine if you keep making these lifestyle choices. But if these lifestyle choices are putting you into this category that's going to take money from other resources, then that's another. Then we have to have a conversation. That's how I'm viewing it.
Because I think her whole thing is she's being described as she's brought in to help educate the staff of addressing weight stigma and body positivity, and that's her whole thing.
So that's more like calling people ugly because they're fat or whatever. It's a feelings thing, right? Like for me, I'm talking about like, dude, if there's got to be a standardized amount of like what is good for a human's longevity. Like if you think about, okay, if you're a government
They're out there.
employee,
They're very
right?
clear.
Yeah.
It's like you would probably want to figure out the science behind what is going to help my population live the longest and then the healthiest, and what is healthy, because even our institutions are so infiltrated by like different companies that, remember like when they revised the food pyramid, they're saying like Fruit Loops is healthier than a fucking banana. They were like, all this shit came out and we're like, see, we can't even trust the government because like you're supposed to be helping us live a healthy lifestyle, and you're clearly telling me Fruit Loops is and like Skittles is healthier than a fucking apple. Like, come on, dude, that's crazy. So I think it's like that idea of what is healthy. I think it's so.
What's crazy is those stats are out there, and it, to me, numbers don't lie. Like I think one of them is if you get over 7,000 steps a day, you lower like all cause mortality by like 90%. Those stats are out there, but for you to like skew that, because we know statistically and numerically and objectively what health is, if for you to skew that so your feelings don't get hurt, I think will probably cause more damage.
It's more harmful.
Yeah,
for
it's more
sure.
harmful.
And you're speaking to this community that trusts you to kind of give the best information possible. And it's just kind of, it's a weird take.
I just hate when I see these types of things where it's like, just say what it really is. Like, if you're just out there to help people who are fat feel not as sad, just say that's what you're doing. Instead of like being like, oh, I found myself in this situation where my body's not ideal. And don't make it a different narrative that you meant to do this and it's like a bigger story. It's not, dude. Like, it's cool. If you're fat, it's cool. Yeah. Sometimes you're fat, sometimes you're not. Whatever.
Yeah, and then try to draw the parallel between you and someone that has Down syndrome. You know what I mean? Like, that's so crazy.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
It's like if that guy didn't want Down syndrome and he had the choice, he probably would choose not to.
Yeah.
Like, if you would let him have the option.
Sounds like to me she probably wasn't the most qualified for that position.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to be like, oh, like I got myself in this position. Rather than work to get myself out, I'm gonna work to let other people also relish in being here, rather than like make any effort to leave this space.
Isn't there already like a standardized like general what is healthy like for heart rate, all this stuff based on like weight, age, height?
Yeah.
There is, and the range is already broad. You know what I mean? It's not like you have to be this to be healthy. It's already like this is healthy.
Yeah, because you can't expect someone who's like 6 feet to be the same weight as someone who's 4 feet.
And it's way less about weight than anything. It's like you could be definitely plus size and still have healthy health markers.
Yep.
As long as you exercise, as long as you eat the right things. Like, yeah, your weight won't change, whatever, that's fine. If you want to be what you want to be. But for you to not promote exercise and mental health and stuff like that, because it all comes into play, right? And I feel like a lot of people that we talk to that are trying to make interventions in their life, as soon as they start exercising even a little bit, whatever form that looks like, everything else just improves in their life. Their mental clarity is better, like their issues with mental health just significantly get lower, right? So it's like, I don't know, it's just a weird stance, and especially the comparison to the disabled
Comparison's
community.
the craziest part.
Like, that one was like, bro, you can't, that's not okay.
The weirder thing that is like infinitely darker to me, but I would resonate better with, is if somebody who is obese was making a speech saying, hey, we got shorter life expectancies being this fat, let's at least be happier.
It's more real.
I would feel that more than someone who's delusional and being like, we're totally healthy.
Versus like, hey, you know how you don't really judge people that have Parkinson's? It's like, can you use that angle on me? And they're like, what the fuck?
It almost feels more hopeless. Like you're telling everybody that like, don't worry about it. This is your body. You're in this vessel like this exactly, and just stay this way. Like you don't have to. Like you can go up and down, and you can be fat again later. You know, like maybe you'll fluctuate. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It sucks to make someone like that feel bad. I think that's bad. Yeah. But I don't think you have to like artificially boost your self-esteem either.
Especially when you have a role like this in government, right? You're working with a whole organization like the San Francisco Department of Public Health. That's a big deal.
Yeah, just call yourself fat and then work from there.
But maybe in San Francisco, they're not really worried about public health. They're just like, this fentanyl is out of control right now.
But like, you can't say like skinny people will eat McDonald's and know it's not healthy. Yeah. You know what I mean? A fat person can't be eating McDonald's and say they're healthy. That's not fair.
You ever bring like a fat dog to the vet? Yeah. the vet straight up goes, hey, we need to like lower the food.
You got to go on my walks.
Yeah.
Like, your dog's gonna die in a couple
you don't
years
go like,
if we don't.
don't listen to the doctor.
I'm sure there are some people that do.
Absolutely.
That's the double standard. Is you could be fat bringing a fat dog to the vet. The vet won't call you fat.
Yeah. Dude, that's a sick vet.
You should be like, hey, taking too much after the owner.
Yeah,
I bet there's some vets that say that.
I think fat people are really they're just tired of people making fun of them. And I think that's the real core truth of it, is that they're just tired of being people making it feel good.
Because it is like the main thing is discrimination, weight-based discrimination.
The health culture makes them feel bad. And it's like, talk about that. You don't gotta artificially try to make everybody feel happy.
And like, there's definitely grains of truth to that argument, right? Like, we all know some people who are really fit, and then like they think fat, like people who are fat, they're like, they're pieces of shit, they're lazy, they'll never amount to anything because they're
like
quote unquote because they're fat, right?
But that's like the equivalent of like all the nerds coming together in the field in front of the jocks and going, we're cool. It's like, dude, they're gonna get jumped. You know what I mean? Like that's the equivalent of that. It's like
Pretty cool that they galvanize on the field.
you know what I mean? It's like everyone's just looking at you guys going, y'all are fat, dude. Like, you're making them, like, you're giving them ammo, like, with this shit. Like, just be yourself and be like, hey, this is cool. I'm cool with that, but.
And if you look at these comments, like, I understand that she's trying to promote more inclusiveness or whatever the case is, but, like, you read the reactions from people, and they're fucking pissed. Like, these reactions are like
pissed against her or for her?
against her, because it kind of, I think it because it makes them seem like whatever this movement is, they associate with just massive delusion. So they'll never take what you're saying as like truth or not. They just think
they're like acting like a persecuted group. But what it is you're a group that's been made fun of forever. Like, I probably, wherever there was a fat human, like caveman, right? They're probably making fun of the fat caveman. Because it just looks funny.
and that's across all cultures, all across the world.
It just looks funny.
It's like doing bad algebra, where it's like you're an X, I'm a Y. If I do this and carry that, we're both Z. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you don't have to do any of that.
What do you guys think about that? I think there was like a new initiative or proposal they try to make, where it's like if you're heavy set and you need 2 seats, airplane seats. That they'll just comp the person that needs it. And then the other argument is like, well, how come when I bring in extra, my luggage is like 1 pound heavier, I have to pay however many dollars for every single pound, right? You have to pay $100.
Yeah.
So my luggage can't be 1 pound heavier. That person is like 50 pounds heavier and gets a free like $500 seat. Like, what are your guys' thoughts?
What if you have man spread too? I got ginormous man spread.
Because the luggage can be unloaded on the spot, but the person can't do jumping jacks. Can't do jumping jacks in the terminal.
That's a really good argument.
Way to make sense, right?
So you can throw your hoodies in the trash can real quick.
Right. That's the way I.
That's funny, right? You could take that same item that's going on the same plane and put it in your backpack, your carry-on, that doesn't get weighed, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's the same weight that's on the plane. I don't care.
Or the guy who's running the policy for the airline, it's like, honestly, it's fucking easier if you just give him a seat. Just give him the fucking seat, dude. I'm not gonna have this conversation. Just give him the seat.
10 minutes left.
We'll figure the rest out. We'll figure it out.
I think when you start seeing those articles about like when people who are bigger complain about hotels having thin hallways, I think that's when we're just in bizarro world.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
I think if you're outgrowing Earth, something's wrong with your weight.
You're outgrowing hallways. It's tough.
Because culturally, it's really interesting to me how we operate in the U.S. Because my mom would always point this out. Because she's like, Americans are so accommodating because they try to think about like how everyone's experience is. And she was talking about how everything is like wheelchair accessible, or like, you know, she's like, I've never seen so many fat people in my life, and she thought that it's the funniest thing. When she first moved to America, how many fat people were there? She was 2 things: how many fat people there are, and how many shirtless guys there are.
Tight.
Because she's like, those 2 things you just don't see it in Japan, in her generation. And then so she was like, sumo wrestlers out there, they'll take the cab, they don't take the train. Because fat out there is like, hey, dude, that's not fair. You're taking 2 spaces. And then it's like,
Very pragmatic.
So they know that they're inconveniencing someone else.
you're eating for 2. That could have been a meal for someone else. So it's like,
Oh, that's crazy.
right.
You sumo wrestlers, take the cab.
Companies do give you extra money or fine you depending on your weight, all this stuff. And then also it's like,
Well, that makes sense. If they have a system where you go up an escalator and you stand on one side or walk on the other, but then you're blocking the walking side.
exactly. It's
You
like,
can't
why?
play the community anymore.
Right. So it's like, it's not fair. So it's a different mentality. But she said on the flip side, though, it's like how many people are actually in wheelchairs in America? Not that much compared to the population, but everything is built so that wheelchair folks can access everything.
Well, that's only because people are afraid of being sued.
Well, yeah, but in Japan though, if there's stairs, there's stairs. Tough luck, dude. You gotta ask somebody to help you, or you just don't go out. You just gotta plan your route and go, that station doesn't have stairs, so I have to go around here. And then you can't ask people to be like, hey, can you build an elevator for me? Because I'm in a wheelchair.
But you don't ask people to build an elevator. You say, you don't have an elevator, you gotta give me $2 million off of this lawsuit.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't know that.
Yeah, I'm gonna sue your ass.
Yeah.
Which is tight.
And it's crazy because it's almost like there's almost perks to being that unhealthy or big. You know, it's like you'll be able to get your handicap card and then park closer and then jump on like a little scooter. And scooters are always fun. I wish I could ride them, but I'm not overweight enough apparently. But it's like,
just do it.
and then like the healthcare that is technically like a lot of it tax funded. It's like you know, you're gonna get certain treatment and stuff like that because you have health problems. So it's like we just cater to it.
Aren't you gonna wear down your carpet way more?
Hey, you could eat for free at the Heart Attack Diner.
I'm sure the negatives still outweigh the positives for sure.
Ooh, outweigh, good word.
I don't know. Just don't be mean. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, be nice. Be nice to everybody.